said, we tried to go back to our testing notes. He said this racetrack was so different. They tried to go back to the notes from a year ago with this same tire that Goodyear has here. He said, Larry, the car was just way too loose. We had to completely adjust that setup.
Wow. And Rusty Wallace told me the same thing. He came here and tested, and when he showed up, his car was so loose he couldn't drive it.
And I stand corrected. Jeff Gordon himself did not test here, but the car he partially owns, Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car, tested his setup from a year ago and was very happy with that package.
That's the best test you can have when somebody else does it for you.
Ricky Craven at 66 laps, our leader by 1.1 seconds now. It's stabilized over Jeff Green. Ward Burton is third and Dale Jarrett fourth in the Subway 400 on Fox.
Welcome back live to Subway 400 at The Rock in Rockingham, North Carolina. Ricky Craven on the pole, and he has led all the way. We've had one caution. The winner of the race back in November, Joe Nemechek with a spin out on lap 18. Another full weekend of racing across the Fox networks when we hit Las Vegas. Saturday, the Busch Series. Another Winston Cup practice, the happy hour, that's on FX. And on Sunday, NASCAR this morning on Fox Sports Net. The Chrysler 400, that's 3 o'clock Eastern. Note the start time, noon Pacific on Fox and NASCAR Victory Lane to wrap everything up for you. And that, of course, on Fox Sports Net with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers in the Hollywood Hotel. Other than the guys on the lead pack, what's catching your eye, Jeff?
Well, the fact that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is still struggling, already a lap down, as well as Kevin Harvick. I really expected him to come in here and run well, but he struggled all day and has already found himself a lap down.
And Dale Jarrett running fourth has had 12 straight top 10 finishes here in Rockingham. Let's get back up to Mike, Darrell, and Larry.
Several drivers we expected to be contenders not having the best day. Mark Martin among them.
Mark started back in 17th position, and he's fallen all the way back to 30th. He's already a lap down, and like Jeff Hammond mentioned, Dale Earnhardt Jr. sick this morning, not feeling good, car not driving good, and he's about a second and a half to 2 seconds actually from going a lap down.
Boys, there's something bad wrong when Mark Martin is not a factor at Rockingham. There's something upside down in that whole deal right there.
There's Jarrett, the fourth place car, going past Mark, who's just riding around the bottom of the racetrack.
He's just out there, that's all. And that's just not Mark Martin. There's something, you know, I know he can't be very happy.
And there's the second place battle, Jeff Green.
This has been a battle for a while.
Yes. Let's update you on Jimmy Johnson's pit crew member who was injured on that stop. David Bryant, the front tire carrier, has been taken to the hospital in Rockingham to x-ray his right leg, which was injured in that pit stop.
Jimmy Spencer in the 41 car, he's on pit road. Looks like probably a routine stop. It's been about 60 laps since these cars were on pit road. This is about 10 short of what we thought a lot of them would run. But Darrell, the deal here, once those leaders start coming to pit road, you can't be far behind them, because if you do, you're going to be giving up 2 to 3 seconds a lap when you're looking at fresh tires versus 70 or 80 lap tires.
You're going to accomplish two things when you come in and get tires. You're going to shut that driver up, and you're going to make that car happy for a little while.
If I was going to shut my driver up, I'd just come every 10 laps.
Or turn the radio off.
Let's listen to what we picked up on Ward Burton's radio a few minutes ago.
Take it easy on the right front, buddy. We got a long day here. Easy on the tires. Doing a good job, little buddy. Everything's A-okay, man.
Pump that driver up, DW.
Well, that's what it's all about, particularly in a situation like this. The track's slick. It's hot out there this afternoon, believe it or not, and that has an effect. These guys haven't had, you know, they went to Daytona, it was cool. That's easy racing. This is a day's work right here. This is a man's job right here.
Back when this was a 500-mile race, in 1973, David Pearson led 491 of the 492 laps, but he still had to hold off Cale Yarborough at the flag to win it.
Oh, yeah, this racetrack has always been the kind of racetrack that sets up, just like we had here last year, dramatic finishes.
But the characteristics of this race is exactly what's happening right now. You'll get a caution or two in the beginning, and it's like you'll go a long period of time with long green runs. Everybody settles down and finds their groove and just watches the laps unwind.
Right now, this is when the communication between the driver and the crew chief has to be at a premium. That driver's got to tell the crew chief all day long what's going on.
Pit stops beginning. We'll be back to cover them after this.
The Subway 400 on Fox is brought to you by Subway. Subway runs on fresh-made taste. Subway, eat fresh.
Ricky Craven now leads Ward Burton by 1.4 seconds. Jeff Green has dropped to third. And Darrell, this looks like a very difficult part of the race for a driver when some of the drivers running in the back suddenly have fresh tires and they're rocketing past the leaders who are trying to stretch their tire mileage. There's a huge speed disparity here.
Oh, there is, and I tell you, when the spotter's trying to help you and you're looking in the mirror and you want to get out of the guy's way, you'll try to get out of his way, and sometimes it ends up in disaster because he's going so much faster than you are that if you make any kind of, that's why we tell guys, oh, hold your line. Whatever line you're running, hold that line. That leader or that faster car will get by you.
And what's going on here, the guys that already have went a lap down, you know, Buckshot Jones, Rick Mast, Mike Skinner, a lot of these guys, Kevin Harvick in particular, what they're doing, they're pitting early, hoping that it will cycle through the green flag stops. Everybody will pit, and then they'll be ahead of the leader, get their lap back because of the fresher tires, and they'll get a caution, make their lap up.
None of the leaders have yet pitted. Here's Elliott Sadler for the Wood Brothers on pit road. But let's get an update on the leaders' pit strategy. Steve?
Mike, as I said earlier, crew chief Mike Beam knows that those tires drop off after 63 laps. After 30 laps on that set of tires, he ran a 25.78. After 63 laps, his breaking point, he ran a 26.46. Now, when they do come in, they're talking about making a track bar adjustment. To Matt Yoki.
Danny Schrader has made it to 6. He's complaining like several drivers down in my end of the pit area that his car is tight in the center of the corner. He and crew chief Newt Moore are talking about what changes to make. Right now they're looking at air pressure changes today.
Well, there's a lot of activity here in Jeff Gordon's pit. He has passed nearly 20 cars since the drop of the green flag this afternoon. And the word that we keep hearing in his conversations with crew chief Robbie Loomis, tires, tires, tires. That's what they're looking for.
And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick a car that's already pitted. I'm going to pick Jeff Burton. He's out there. He's been out there 3 or 4 laps. He just ran a 25.16. Ricky Craven, leading the race, is running 26.75. That's over a second and a half a lap. That's a lot of real estate in a short time.
Sterling Marlin makes a bid for second.
We got us a heck of a race. These guys pit if they want to. We got us a heck of a race going on here for the lead. You got Ward and Sterling and Craven there, and they're just fighting like cats and dogs trying to get the lead away from Craven.
And what's happened, Ricky Craven, he's getting into this lap traffic. He's been out there about 70-something laps on these tires sliding around. It's hard to maneuver your race car around lap cars when your car's sliding around.
But Craven is still, I mean, he goes high, he goes low. He's still got the best car, but these guys, Ward Burton is after him, boys.
And this is when you drive that race car as much with that throttle pedal as you do that steering wheel.
Now, who could be the spoiler right there? Todd Bodine. He's flying up through that pack because he has fresh tires. There's Todd. He has already made his stop in that 66. And he's going to go right under Ward because he's got more grip.
And that spotter, that crew chief, they said, there's your leader, get by him. Let's get one of those laps back right now here under green.
Yeah, you pit early, then what you try to do is cut your losses. You get back out there and try to get back to the head of the leader if you possibly can.
Those fresh tires, they make you look like Superman.
Here's the first of the top 20 to pit, John Andretti, coming onto pit road.
Look at that. Look at the difference in the speed.
And where the real speed difference is down in the center of the corner, the low speed, because you're able to pick up the throttle so much sooner and stay in that throttle off the corner.
Here comes Gordon on pit road finally.
14th place. He climbed from 33rd to 14th. Let's go to Jeff's pit.
Gordon is in his pit area right now. This is the same crew you watched do such a good job last year, with a single exception of the jack man. Jeff Cook is the new jack man. Chris Anderson, who had been jacking this car, has moved to Jimmy Johnson's team. These guys are very experienced together, very smooth, and they've just pulled off another nice pit stop.
And buddy, that'll show up on the racetrack too. You make up time in that pit, you can make up seconds in the pit. You can only make up a few hundreds on the track. So the crews have got to be fast.
Now that Gordon has stopped, will these other lead teams be watching Jeff Gordon's stopwatch and see how much they're losing to him on worn tires?
Well, I think what they'll do, since he was working his way forward, he was still way back. What really is the key is those top 5 or 6 cars, Craven, Burton, Marlin, Jarrett, Jeff Green. They're the ones everybody's watching. When one of those cars come to pit road, the rest of them will start to follow. You don't get that worried about someone that's back in the field a little bit.
Here comes Rusty down pit road. He's just now diving on.
Rusty Wallace gives up 9th place to make his pit stop.
One down everywhere but the right rear. Start finish line. That's pit. Rest right here, right here.
And crew chief Billy Wilburn goes to work on the right front. They reminded Rusty about the RPM, the pit road speed. He actually writes it on the tachometer with a Sharpie inside the race car. They're going to adjust this car with air pressure. Rusty, like a number of drivers, is still very tight in the center of the corner as the Blue News pulls away.
Okay, what they did right there, you heard Billy Wilburn tell Rusty, we're going to go 1 pound down of air all the way around except the right rear. Why? Because he's tight. More air pressure in the right rear will help the car to turn. Jeannie Zalasko.
The 30 car of Jeff Green, a little too tight off the corner. We heard that several laps ago, so the air pressure adjustments in the tires. He is getting 4 of them. Jeff Green, of course, this is a new team. He says this crew has been together a while in the Busch Series. This is a new experience now in the Cup.
Robbie Gordon's in, as is Dave Blaney, the yellow car. And there's Gordon's crew. No relation to Jeff Gordon.
Oh, yeah, they're kin.
We have to point that out once a season.
They're kin. No, they got to be as close as they get. They're really close. They get really close to each other all the time.
Guys, I'm so glad Dick Bergman talked about it at the beginning. All these guys on the crew across the wall, even the NASCAR official wearing that safety helmet. After the situation with Robert Yates Racing at Homestead, NASCAR immediately reacted, put everybody on pit road in safety helmets.
Matt Kenseth's crew at the ready. Ken Schrader is on pit road. So is Michael Waltrip, who's 2 laps down. Now watch as Schrader goes around. He's pitting on the curve, where it's a little tougher to find your pit stall around that curve, but he's got it. Matt's there.
And Big Tim Goad pumps on that jack to raise up the right side of Kenny Schrader's car. They made an air pressure adjustment in the right front. He was very tight in the center of the corner as Goad comes around to the left side. The luck's on. Kenny Schrader trying to end a long winless streak. 340 starts since he won at Dover.
Tim Goad, the jackman on that car, former NFL lineman, says nothing gave him the adrenaline push of football till he picked up one of these jacks, got out on pit road.
Hey, Larry, Mike, these guys wearing these helmets reminds me of me and Hammond one time. We were running so bad we came down pit road, they all had bags over their heads.
Tony Stewart in the 20 car, he comes to pit road to the attention of Greg Cimpadelli and that crew.
Stewart was 7th. Matt Kenseth, who was 6th, is also in. Dick Berggren.
Kenseth's going to take 4 tires, as has everybody else. He's fortunate in that Robbie Gordon is out of his way, and so is the 15 of Michael Waltrip, so he had a clean pit. What they are worried about here, lug studs. Yesterday on the Busch car, they snapped 2 of them. To Matt, to Steve.
Well, Dick, Tony Stewart said he wants more forward bite on that Pontiac. Mike Lingerfeld on the front tires, Randy Cox on the rear. Make a chassis adjustment to the right rear to correct that forward bite. Let's go to Matt.
And Dale Jarrett's already in for service. Mike Trower already around on the left side, making an air pressure adjustment on the 88 car of Jarrett. He was loose up off the corner to Steve Burns.
Matt, Ricky Craven's going to make his stop. He stopped on lap 18. They're talking about making a track bar adjustment on that 32. That's what Mike Beam wants to do. Car is up in the air. Jim Carbon on the front tires. Darrell Lockyer on the rear. There's the track bar adjustment on the 32.